In the next 10 years, you'll be using all electric everything in New York. Hey folks, welcome back to Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. And I've been stumbling across a couple articles today, and I want to bring them to your attention. I will link them in the comments section below this video so you can read these for yourselves. The first article I want to bring to your attention is from Odyssey.com. It says a federal ruling moves all electric new New York homes forward. Builders say no assurance in the event of power outage. Let's dig into this. A recent ruling by a federal judge moves New York State one step closer to allowing all buildings not to be allowed access to natural gas. This ruling leaves local builders like Dominic Cortez and others worried. He had hoped that there would be some movement to delay or revamp and somehow re-examine the whole philosophy of this ludicrous policy. But that indeed is not happening, said Cortez in an interview with WBEN. Probably the most ridiculous thing is that we will have no plan in place for power outage. There is no provision for allowing for gas generators. In fact, gas lines are no longer going to be required to be put down the street, so gas availability will go away in new neighborhoods. So a new house is 100% electric. We will have no backup plans for power. As Cortez points out, that can be lethal. As we learned in the 2022 Christmas blizzard, the electrical grid is not surefire, 100% guaranteed way to heat our homes. The fact that power can go out, even with a windstorm, is an indication it shouldn't be putting our eggs in the basket of something that is not 100% reliable, Cortez said. Conversely, we know that natural gas is 100% reliable. Natural gas outages are never, ever heard of. He adds, because of this, home prices will go up. Everything that is going to be built will have to be built with the idea of it being sustainable, Cortez explains. Examples include the electrical service. The electrical service will have to be upward of 400 amps, where the standard home now has 200 amp service. The heating will have to be with a heat pump, probably a standard size home of 2,500 square feet or so. It will be required 2 heat pumps. So basically it's like having 2 furnaces, so twice the utility consumption from that. Cortez feels the new state requirement will put builders in a predicament. We're living through a housing shortage. We don't have enough homes in New York State, and now we're increasing the cost of building a home. How is that a positive move towards being able to build more homes, Cortez pondered. And wow, that article kind of just dies right there. Interesting. Like there should have been a whole lot more to that. But all electric homes, every new home built in New York State, starting January 1st, 2026, all new homes under 7 stories will have to be completely electric. No gas hookups, no fossil fuels, you can't have an oil-fired furnace, none of it. Your heating, your cooling, your cooking must all be electric. So I looked up another article on this, and it's actually from the New York Assembly.gov, and it says, there is no Planet B. New York State's all-electric building plans puts us on a green path to a healthier future. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that most of our power comes from natural gas and coal-fired plants. What these laws do is just handicap the citizenry more. Laws for thee, but not for me. The state will obviously run on gas as long as it chooses and have access to those things, while it puts the average consumer here in New York State out. Leaves you no choice but electric. Climate change is an existential threat to our planet. We need to do everything we can to protect it for our future generations. New York is once again leading the nation in its response to climate change with its new forward-thinking commitment to a greener future. Here's how. Starting in 2026, most new construction of buildings in New York that are 7 stories or shorter must be built to use electric heat and appliances. This will also apply to larger commercial buildings with 100,000 square feet or more of conditioned floor area, bigger businesses. Taller residential buildings and smaller commercial buildings will be rolled into the program in 2029. So a lot of change coming here to New York State in the next 5 and 10 years, even at the end of this year. This goes on to state some industries like restaurants, hospitals, and doctors' offices, factories, and agricultural buildings will automatically exempt from these requirements. Sounds like a lot of stuff that the state gets a lot of money from, right? Existing buildings will not be impacted by these new requirements, even if they're being repaired or renovated. If you build an addition on your house, you can still use gas if you want. Existing gas appliances can also be replaced with new gas appliances. Waivers will be available for new construction project if the local electric corporation or municipality can't provide reliable service within a reasonable time frame. Very interesting. I think that is something that everybody out there should explore, because we know that here in rural New York State, when the power goes out, we're out for hours, sometimes days at a clip. So I think it's important you find those waivers, fill them out, send them to your municipality and tell them the grid just can't support this green New York that they're pushing for. It goes on to state people can still use fuel-generated power sources like emergency generators as backup and standby power systems. Interesting. It's tough to use those things when the infrastructure is no longer put in place, right? Before any regulations are finalized, there will be a public comment period for New Yorkers to weigh in with questions and concerns. Well, the federal judge ruled that they're all done talking. 2026, January 1st, this takes effect. Now, another thing that is taking effect here in New York, and this is a little bit slower of a rollout, so this is something that in the next 10 years is going to affect every New Yorker. New York State's EV mandate is coming to local auto dealership by year's end. This article is from WGRZ.com, and we'll get into that right now. Some New York auto dealers oppose the EV mandate, citing concerns over readiness and economic impacts. They're calling for a more flexible approach. This article is from Buffalo, New York. You may not be aware of this, but the New York State has had a law in place that may eventually force you to buy only an electric vehicle in the next 10 years. You heard that right. Governor Kathy Hochul's administration is pushing ahead with a mandate which calls for all automobiles, SUVs, and pickup trucks to be free of fossil fuel emissions by the year 2035. That's all vehicles in the next 10 years. That means all new vehicles on local dealers' lots would need to be electric by the year 2035. But the mandate actually begins this year, with model 2026 autos already showing up on dealership lots. By year's end, local dealers' 2026 inventory needs to be 35% electric. And the mandate increases every year with some flexibility, according to the DEC. Two on Your Side spoke with several local auto dealers who said the mandate is simply out of touch with reality and that they want it replaced or repealed as soon as possible. Lauren Paddock, the executive vice president for Paddock Chevrolet, said, "We are for EV vehicles, we are for cleaner air, but we won't force our customers to buy something they don't want to buy." New York State's electrical vehicle mandate is approaching quickly, and it's causing a lot of headaches for local auto dealers. Critics of the mandate say it will result in economic disaster for New York State and the local auto industry, leading to employee layoffs. Paddock also said the mandate will cause the dealership to stock cars they have less demand for. We can't force consumer demand. They have to get there on their own. It's not my job to force them into a product. That's what the mandate essentially says we have to do, Paddock said. Time is not on the dealer's side. New York mandate requires all passenger cars, SUVs, and pickup truck sales to be 35% electric by year's end, and then 68% by 2030. So 68% EV sales here in New York by 2030, 100% by 2035. Jim Basil is the vice president of Joe Basil Chevrolet. He said, "We are not at 35% yet. We see a future, but to force us to 35% now is not feasible. We are at 6% now. It's something that needs to be addressed sooner rather than later." Basil also said that the mandate is forcing some customers into EV world quicker than the market and infrastructure is ready for them. At the current time, I don't think we're ready to force 35% of our customers into an EV, Basil said. It's a little premature and we're not quite ready. They are great vehicles. Some people love them, but it doesn't fit everyone yet. Another factor is the infrastructure to support the charging of all those new electric vehicles that will be on the road. Paddock said the grid just can't support all of this product yet. It gets me thinking, if the grid can't support charging all these electric vehicles, how the heck are we going to run a bunch of electric homes? Just look around. You can't find an EV charger. Hard to find, Paddock said. From infrastructure and consumer confidence perspective, the demand perspective, we're not there. Can we? Absolutely. Can we get there in a year, late spring? No. Economics plays a role as well. The average gas vehicle costs nearly $50,000, while the average electric vehicle is $66,000, though the entry-level ones can start under $30,000. If consumers don't find gas-powered vehicles they want locally due to limited demand inventory on dealer lots, they might be forced to head across state lines to purchase their vehicle. Unfortunately, it means limited availability for gas-powered vehicles. We want people to shop locally, not out of state. If we can't supply people, many go out of state, Basil said. Both dealers agree that repealing the mandates is the best solution right now. Both dealers tell Two on Your Side that the mandate stays in place and they are forced to sell the 35% by year's end. They certainly won't need all the employees they currently have on staff to sell half of what they currently sell in their lots, which is a direct effect of livelihoods, the local economy, and a huge community ripple effect. New York State Department of Environmental Conservation sent a statement in response that says the Advanced Clean Cars 2 regulation applies to manufacturers, not consumers and dealers. As part of the regulation, manufacturers have various available flexibilities that result in the need to achieve approximately 10% EV sales, not 35%. Electric vehicle sales are now represent more than 10% of all car sales in New York. Paul Stasek, the president of the Niagara, founder of the Auto Dealers Association, responded saying, "For a deputy commissioner to say that the OEM mandate does not impact dealers or consumers is once again out of touch with how OEMs are pushing this problem down to the dealers to achieve goals. Local politicians are aware of the situation and are getting involved." Two on Your Side spoke with local Republican U.S. Representative Nick Langworth about this. He recently held a news conference at some of Western New York auto dealerships discussing the mandate. Over the phone, he told Two on Your Side that he sees bipartisan support to eliminate the mandate and is urging Governor Kathy Hochul to reconsider and to allow for a more gradual transition that reflects local consumer demand. The governor's office sent a statement too. That is attached here via a scribd file. I'm going to leave it up to you guys to read that because this video has been long enough anyway. But your thoughts in the comments section. The EV revolution, it's not just cars, it's your homes too, especially here in New York. We've got less than 10 years till everything's electric, folks. Let me know what you think. Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, and I'll catch you on the next video.
Thank you.